everyone's looking for the young guy. They're looking for McVay. I think take a shot out Todd Bowles, get him a second shot at head coach, and see if he can do it.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
It's crazy. And our kids will know how great Tom Brady is because he's going to be playing.
Yes, it is 15.0%.
That's what the Yankees brought Garrett Cole to do.
He was a 6th-round pick. This is a fairy tale story that's being written in front of our eyes.
People like to call them their JV team, and they just stole one of their better players.
They didn't struggle against the Padres. The Padres didn't really put up a fight in most of the games.
Jerry Jones, hope you're listening.
Hi, I'm Landon Bowe, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. And I want to say this is the Trey Hendrickson. Did Trey Hendrickson make the right choice? Leaving the Bengals and going to the Ravens.
Yeah, and the Ravens obviously have a new head coach. The Bengals do not, but the Bengals have been to a Super Bowl more recently. Trey Hendrickson missed a lot of games last year. He wasn't himself, but that's also because the D-line wasn't helping him out. I do wonder, and Kevin, who do you think has a higher chance of actually contending this season between these two teams?
So I'm going to go Ravens, even though...
Why is that?
So, to me, the argument for the Bengals is you have Joe Burrow in that offense. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and it's like, that's our offense. And then, like, if you can have passable defense. I don't know. To me, the higher chance of the Ravens having a better defense than the Bengals and doing... I'm not saying the Ravens offense will be the same, but I would bet on defense under the Ravens versus the defense for the Bengals. And that, to me, that is what Jesse Minter does. And the Chargers had a good defense. And to me, I think they'll be good offensively. I think they'll do enough, and then their defense will be much better. So I chose the medium of both versus the Bengals offense, if it's healthy, one of the best offenses in the league, and you have Joe Burrow, to me, who has that it factor of he's done it before. That offense has put them into the Super Bowl. Of course, they had a solid defense then, and I'm concerned about it. I'm also concerned about, can they keep Joe Burrow healthy just because of that O-line? They keep trying to fix it, but I don't know if they've made substantial moves with it.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to go Bengals because I feel like you have to be dominant in one or the other to end up making a Super Bowl in general. Like, to contend, I feel like you need one or the other, and I don't see how the Ravens have an elite on either side of the ball. Last year, they were 18th in defense. I think the defense will be better, but I don't think it's going to be an elite level. And then their offense, they still haven't added enough wide receiver help around Lamar. Derrick Henry keeps getting older, and while I still think he's going to be good this season, he's not absolutely trusted in my opinion. Zay Flowers is good, but he has a lot of his best games at the very end of the season when they don't matter. And in the playoffs, he's had some poor plays in the games that he's played, namely being the fumble against the Chiefs. I just don't see how this. They also lost Isaiah Likely. I think this offense will be. I mean, last year they were 11th in points for. I could see them being 8th or 7th. But this Bengals offense could be first, right? Like, if you look at last year, the Bengals were 12th in points for, and Joe Burrow did not play all that much last year, right? He played less than half the games. He played 8 games. So, looking at that, them being basically neck and neck, 11th versus 12th in offense, I think the Bengals offense could be top 3, top 2, just because of how good the rest of those options are. I think Chase Brown, T. Higgins, obviously Jamar Chase, around Joe Burrow. This offense looks very good. I think their O-line is a little bit better than last year. The question is whether or not they can keep him healthy. But I think the Bengals defense will be a little bit better than last year. I think the Ravens defense will be better than last year. The Ravens defense last year was 18th, while the Bengals was 30th. But I think the Bengals will be around like 25th, with an offense around 3rd. And the Baltimore Ravens will be around 15th, 14th, 13th in defense, and 9th or 8th or 10th in offense. I just don't see how this offense They don't have enough receiving weapons. I mean, Lamar last year, Kevin, threw for 2,500 yards. That's under 200 yards a game. He's just not throwing the ball enough. And while Lamar is very talented with his legs, he hasn't been running the ball as much. Last year, he only had 349 rushing yards, 26.8 yards per game rushing. And he didn't have that many passing yards. And he's had multiple years in his career, 3 namely, that he's had under 200 yards passing per game. And besides the year he threw 4,000, which was in 2024, he really hasn't had a crazy passing year outside of the second year of his career when he won his MVP. So, or his first MVP. So I'm going to take the Bengals for contending. I think the Ravens, if I had to predict which team had a better record, I would say Ravens. But I think if the question is who's more likely to contend, I see the path for the Bengals being true contenders in the AFC. I don't see how the Ravens are. Because I think you have to have a dominant side to actually contend in today's football. Because if you look at the teams that contended last year, you have the Patriots, who had a top 5 defense. You had the Seahawks, who had a top 5 defense. You had the Broncos, who had a top 5 defense. A lot of these teams have a top 5 of one of the two. The Eagles, year before that, had both a very good offense and a very good defense. The Chiefs had some very good offenses early when they won titles and very good defenses when they won late. Same thing with the 49ers. I feel like at one of the two sides you have to be elite at. And I'd say elite is top 4, top 5. I don't see how the Ravens have a top 4 or top 5 offense or defense. I see how it's possible for the Bengals to have a top 5 offense. And if you do that and you get just a play or two in the playoffs from your defense, you can still contend and potentially win a Super Bowl doing that. Now, again, I would probably right now say the Ravens have a better record, but I don't see how the Ravens are true contenders this season.
So I do think you have to have a high level, like you were saying, a high level offense or high level defense. And when I look at this defense and banking on Jesse Minter as what he did in with the Chargers as the defense coordinator, I would say I think this goes to an elite Ravens defense and kind of what we expect.
You think that he goes from 18th to top 5?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Because if you're looking at it right now, looking at their depth chart.
Last year, the Chargers were 9th in points against. Sure, in 2024, they were first. But if we're looking at coming from an 18th, from where you started, I don't know if you can do that.
I think there are a lot of good pieces on this Ravens team. You add in Trey Hendrickson. Matabuke should be healthy. And then looking at the secondary, you have Kyle Hamilton. Malachi Starks will be entering his second year. Also, Nate Wiggins as well. Marlon Humphrey will be a consistent corner. I do think there are going to be a lot more fun pieces for Minter compared to the Chargers defense. And similar, you have 2 great safeties in Derwin James and with the Chargers, and then Kyle Hamilton with the Ravens. And then I do think Malachi Starks can be a pretty good safety. And I think you'll get enough pressure from up front. And then you also have Roquan Smith as the linebacker.
I don't know if he's going to be able to turn around a defense that hard. And I just don't. I definitely don't think the offense can be top 5. And I don't really see. The defense still has holes. I mean, they allowed 44 points to a Houston Texans offense that was horrible. Horrible. There were some bad teams they allowed a lot of points to. And that's what just makes me wonder, are they going to be able to actually be competitive enough in some of these games? Because they don't have. Okay, let me look at their schedule really quickly. But their schedule is going to be kind of. They play the Colts, Saints, Cowboys, Titans, Falcons, Browns, and really the schedule doesn't totally matter because you have to be a contender. You have to be playoff contender, whether you have an easy schedule or not. Doesn't really matter. But you get into week 7 through really the end of the season, besides that Browns game. And you have Bengals, who will be tough, Bills, Jags, Chargers, Panthers, who made the playoffs last year, Texans, Bucks, Steelers, and then Browns, and then Bengals, and then Steelers. So if you exclude that one Browns game to end the season, you have all playoff caliber teams. Because whether or not you think the Steelers are going to make the playoffs, they made it last year. And then the Bengals, whether or not they make the playoffs or not, are still a divisional rival and competitive team. And every other team is playoff caliber. I don't know if their defense is going to be able to hold up, especially going into the playoffs. Now, again, I think that because of their schedule, they're definitely, I think, my pick between the two teams to have a better record. But if we're true contention, I don't see how the Ravens can. I mean, maybe they get some spark players, young guys to come up on their defense to kind of spark the team. But the Chargers' defense was good last year, but it still was ninth in points allowed. It wasn't like it was the Texans, Seahawks, Patriots, Broncos style of the defense.
But yeah, I think we've seen quick turnarounds from new coaches, and I think we can see that with the defense.
We'll see.
So let us know which one you go with. Austin and I are on opposite sides, so we need someone to break the tie. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.